The Garda Compensation Bill, Minister, every functioning democracy, I think we'd all agree, needs to have an independent policing authority and a police force to ensure the security of the population and the upholding of our democratic laws and mandates. And in Ireland, we're, I think, very lucky to have the Garda Síochana, a force that's recognised across the world for its close ties to community, its professionalism, and the fact that most members do not carry arms, which is unusual for most police forces across the world. That being said, the shape of our society is changing, and our culture also, and our policing force must change also. The role of Garda on the beat has changed quite dramatically, particularly for those now who are stationed in our larger urban towns and cities. Unfortunately, threats to the lives and limbs of a Garda over past decades, which would not have been commonplace, are commonplace today. Unfortunately, we have far more pervasive crime, as you know, and particularly in relation to the drugs trade in Ireland. Any Garda single-handedly trying to interrupt the activities of drug gangs for their profits is certainly taking a chance with their personal safety and well-being. In addition, violence against Gardaí on the beat has increased and has been driven by both criminal activities but also by increased antisocial behaviour. Many Gardaí now, unfortunately, face the possibility of physical injury at the hands of others when trying to make arrests, possibly late at night, trying to interrupt crime, when exposed to car chases and the ramming of Garda cars, which has become all too prevalent in the past number of years by fleeing suspects. And Gardaí are often also called to many domestic abuse situations which can tragically escalate out of control, which was seen with the death of Garda Tony Golden in 2015. And similarly, the death of Adrian Donoghue at the Lordship Credit Union when protecting cash in transit. And these, ministers, we all know, were crimes that would not have been thought about in this country possibly 30, 40 years ago. We absolutely need to ensure in such circumstances and situations where family members or dependents are left, they must receive compensation as quickly as possible and with the least amount of legal adversity as possible also. I know this is something you are trying to pursue, Minister. There are a few jobs that I know of that carry the risk of assault, car accident or personal attack or injury as being a possibility every day you go to work. But that is, in fact, now a fact of life for people in the Garda Síochana. And given this environment, it is only right that we should have a comprehensive Garda compensation policy for members of the force when they suffer injury, let alone death in the course of their duties. In light of personal injury assessment, I am glad, Minister, that you are including in your bill the estimation of personal injuries compensation to be considered by PIAB, the Personal Injuries Assessment Board. And as you know, PIAB is building significant expertise in this area, has been for a number of years, and they now have an agreed book of quantum to regulate costs and to ensure a speedy assessment and grant of compensatory monies. And hopefully this will speed up claims that are pending. I welcome Part 7 of your bill also, Minister, where again you have highlighted that this bill will not be liable for the purpose of calculating income tax, and it notes the exclusion of awards from certain assessment of on pensions. And this is only right. In fact, anybody who is getting compensation should not be, this is not being seen as a windfall. This is something that is trying to compensate people for injury and loss that they have suffered. I would also ask, Minister, that I'm not sure where in the bill, I'm sure it's there, and I know it's there with PIAB, but the issue of post-traumatic stress disorder, which will befall and is befalling many members of Garda Síochana. And this is as a result of assault and injuries suffered, but it's also in the course of duties where they've been witness to assault, to kidnapping and battery, witness sometimes to violence and murder. And although we are talking about Garda compensation in relation to assaults on Gardaí, this, I believe, Minister, is an area again that the courts are going to have a look at, because I believe the attitudes to taking on the guards and to assaulting guards has changed. I'm aware of this in my own town and my own circles. I see it on the beat. I think most Garda would tell you that. I think the deference that was widely offered to the Garda force for many years in this country does not exist now to the same extent anymore, and therefore the actions of the courts must prove a deterrent to any considered assault of a Garda. Regarding the welfare of guards in the course of their duty and how the state provides adequate facilities to that purpose, Minister, can I speak for a moment about our own divisional headquarters in Waterford? And I was happy to welcome you, Minister, in recent days to Waterford. I know you were well received, and I know you met with the new policing body down there, and I presume that you also saw our divisional headquarters. But in that, Minister, you will have seen the cramped and inadequate space that is available to our Waterford Divisional headquarters. And I hope you took significant notice of the lack of office space, the lack of interrogation rooms, the lack of changing rooms and locker room facilities for members. And I'm sure these deficits were not lost on you, Minister, in your tour of that divisional unit. And as you know, we have spent a lot of money in this country upgrading Garda headquarters, sometimes for tens of millions. I hope, Minister, somebody pointed out to you that there is a potential to significantly add to the footprint in Waterford for probably 3 to 5 million, Minister. And I would ask you to bring this matter up with the Commissioner if that's where it has to go in terms of getting investment into this situation. As you know, the Waterford headquarters is the command and control centre for the South Eastern Command and Control Rooms, which is monitoring all emergency activities down there, Minister. And to be fair, I've seen operators down there operating cheek by jowl. There's hardly room for a pen on a desk or to put a peg for a coat, Minister. It's not in this day and age. It is not adequate, and it is not right to ask people to work in those facilities. So I would say to you, Minister, although the provision of capital facilities and buildings may not be part of today's immediate discussion, again, I would ask you, please, to raise this with the powers that be and to see can we get this divisional headquarters, get money put into Waterford, because, as you know, its remit has been absolutely widened. There's additional people to come in there. There's no room to accommodate these people, and certainly no room to accommodate the additional activity that's going to take place. So, Minister, overall, of course, I support the activities of Garda, Síochana and their rights to adequate compensation for injury or loss in the course of their work. I think we all want to see a progressive Garda force. We must therefore ensure that they do have a progressive compensation system in place for injury and loss in the course of their duties as it might happen to them. And I welcome the bill, Minister, and I hope to see it progress. Chair.